Step aside, adults. The children have got this. Welcome to WatchMojo.com, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 things you never knew were invented by kids. Before we begin, we publish new videos every day, so be sure to subscribe for more great content. For this list, we're looking at familiar objects that were thought up and invented by kids. Don't worry, teens, you're included too. Number 10. The popsicle. Frank Epperson.
Popsicles here. Can't mourn the dead without a popsicle.
Here's a reason not to tell your kids to clean up. In 1905, after mixing soda powder and water in a cup with a stir stick, 11-year-old Frank Epperson of San Francisco abandoned his concoction on the porch for the night. The weather dropped to record lows for the city, and the next day, Epperson realized he'd created a pretty cool treat. He then let the concept lie for 18 years before marketing and patenting it as the Epsicle in 1923. It was later changed to Popsicle after his children referred to it as Popsicle. Today, over 2 billion popsicles are sold each year and are a summer must. Number 9. Earmuffs, Chester Greenwood.
All you gotta do is say earmuffs to them. Earmuffs.
The Colts to blame for this invention too. In 1873, while ice skating in Farmington, Maine, 15-year-old Chester Greenwood was bothered by his cold ears. Allergic to the wool used in then-popular hats with ear flaps, Greenwood got creative. He took wire, shaped it into circles, and then asked his grandmother to sew what was either flannel or beaver fur onto them.
What are you wearing earmuffs for inside anyway, eh? Because I got a chill, eh? And I thought I might get sick.
He patented the idea by age 19, and earmuffs would go on to be used by American soldiers in World War I. Current residents of Farmington now hold a parade to celebrate Greenwood and his invention, which is still seen as an effective way to warm our ears.
Earmuffs? How did you ever think of it? I knew cotton wouldn't crack.
Number 8. The hot seat. Alyssa Chavez. From science fair project to potentially life-saving consumer childcare product, this small pad with a sensor can be placed by parents under an infant's booster or car seat.
Yes, it's this pad right here.
Okay.
And it can be placed in any infant, toddler, or booster seat.
If the parent then walks further than 20 feet from the car, an alarm will sound on their phone and keychain. The car can also be equipped with an alarm to alert people nearby that there's an unattended infant in the vehicle. Growing up very close to children in her mother's daycare, 17-year-old Alyssa Chavez got the idea after researching the grim statistics of child hot car deaths.
Well, we're not leaving a baby in the car.
He'll be fine. I cracked the window.
The product, now patented, is available through her company, Asila. Number 7. The Water Talkie, Richie Stokowski. Snorkeling can give you access to some awe-inspiring underwater sights. The only problem? You can't communicate with your friends until you're back on the surface.
Find something? Yeah.
Having experienced this frustration firsthand on a trip to Hawaii, 11-year-old Richie Stokowski decided to find a solution. After researching how sound travels underwater and some experimentation, he created the Water Talkie, a simple but effective device that lets people talk to each other up to 15 feet away underwater. Following his pitch, Toys R Us ordered 50,000 water talkies, and Stokowski opened his own company, Short Stack LLC. 3 years and a few products later, he sold it for a reported $7 million. Number 6. All-electronic television, Philo Farnsworth. When you hear farm boy, you rarely think great with electronics, but Philo Farnsworth is considered one of the inventors of electronic TV, coming up with the idea for an image dissector at age 15. At the time, mechanical televisions worked by scanning pictures through a wheel with holes that would spin around. But Farnsworth wanted to scan images in a line pattern instead.
What was your contribution? My contribution was to take out the moving parts and make the thing entirely electronic.
He actually got the idea from the lines he would create while plowing fields. As a 21-year-old, he finished building the dissector. He later won a lengthy patent lawsuit with RCA, and after his death, was inducted into the National Inventors Hall of Fame. Number 5. The modern snowmobile, Joseph Armand Bombardier. Living in rural Quebec in the early 1900s, Joseph Armand Bombardier was always a tinkerer.
It'll take more than a couple of screws and a box of springs to repair your father's watch, my boy.
Given an old Model T engine at age 15, Bombardier worked on it with his brother, and in 1922 came up with his first snowmobile. Well, it was just a sled and propeller powered by the Model T engine, but it was a start. He later significantly improved the design, swapping out the propeller for Caterpillar tracks, and began marketing a multi-passenger vehicle in the 1930s and 40s. In the 1950s, he got back to his initial dream, producing the lightweight, more motorcycle-sized variety of skidoo that's still used today. Number 4. The trampoline. George Nissen.
I just feel like I could really turn over.
In 1930, after watching trapeze artists fall into their safety nets, 16-year-old George Nissen, a high school gymnast, thought it would be cool if the nets allowed the acrobats to bounce back up again and again. So he went out and found a rectangular metal frame, stretched canvas over it, and created what he dubbed the bouncing rig. We don't want to see how the trial and error testing went for this one. Later, in university, his coach, Gary Griswold, helped him perfect his model. While they traveled the Southwest United States together, they learned the Spanish word for diving board, trampoline, and adopted this word for the invention.
30 seconds on this thing and I already feel...
Jeff, you've been up there for an hour.
Number 3. The calculator, Blaise Pascal. Sure, philosophers might know him from Pascal's wager, but this child prodigy gave us something the whole world can appreciate: the calculator. In 1642, at age 18, Pascal wanted to help his father calculate taxes, and came up with Pascal's calculator, later renamed Pascaline. It could add or subtract 2 numbers, and repeat to produce multiplication or division. He released it to the public in 1645, and 4 years later, the king gave him the patent. Unfortunately, the calculator was quite heavy, expensive, and known for mechanical faults, and thus never saw commercial success. Others created calculating machines before and after, but Pascal is regarded as the father of the mechanical calculator.
Oh my God! We got a calculator! Day I ever had is a calculator!
Number 2. The pancreatic cancer nanotubes test. Jack Ondrejka. 15-year-old Jack Ondrejka invented something that may very well save tens of thousands of lives. Because of the lack of funding for the less prevalent pancreatic cancers, ELISA, the detection method, was expensive, unreliable, and hadn't been updated in over 60 years. With the recent discovery of carbon nanotubes, however, Ondrejka and his mentor at Johns Hopkins University were able to create a more reliable test at a fraction of the cost.
I did not expect for it to be this good at detecting pancreatic cancer antibodies and stuff.
His initial idea was reportedly rejected by 199 labs before one professor gave him a chance. He went on to win the Youth Achievement Smithsonian American Ingenuity Award and $75,000 at the Intel International Science and Engineering Fair. Before we unveil our number 1 pick, here are some honorable mentions. Number 1. The Braille Alphabet, Louis Braille. Having lost his vision in a childhood accident, Louis Braille attended a school for the blind. The books had raised letters so the students could learn with their fingers, but this caused the books to be bulky and expensive. In search of a more effective alternative, Braille learned a military code called night writing. By 1824, he had developed a similar but simplified style of code based on 6 dots. He was just 15 years old at the time. Today, there's an estimated 285 million visually impaired people in the world. Braille's code has been translated into many languages, making the written word more efficient and accessible for the visually impaired across the globe.
Here, give me your hand. It says, "This book belongs to Prunella."
Do you agree with our picks? Check out these other great clips from WatchMojo and subscribe for new videos every day.